everyone. Welcome to another edition of In the Spotlight. We have two very special guests. After 30 years, Joe DiMartino stepped aside as Derby softball coach, and one of his former players is now the head coach. We're happy to have her here, and that, of course, is Jamie Bartone. And right by her side, and she's been coaching the program, I think, at least 25 years herself, is assistant coach Jenn Moffat. So, girls, I want to thank you for coming on today. It's a real honor.
Thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike.
So, Jamie, if I do my math right, I think maybe you're the fourth head coach in Derby softball history. So, I mean, there haven't been many softball coaches in Derby's history. So, how's it been so far being a head coach?
It's been amazing. It's been something that I've wanted to do, obviously, back in this hometown for a long time. But it has its struggles, and it has its great moments. But we're growing and we're getting there, and it's exciting for me. It's really that's the main word I can use is it's exciting right now.
Right. So, Jamie, let me ask you, what was the message you sent to the girls the first meeting you had with them? I know a ton of girls came out, which is the most important thing right now is getting kids out. But what was your message to them in that first meeting?
That I wanted them to buy into what we were trying to do, try to bring back that pride feeling and that family feeling of a program here, and just have them, give them something to work towards and something to be a part of and something to feel really just proud to represent every day when they walk around this town, especially.
Right. Jenn, I know in the past few years you've had a girl who's, I think she started every year at catcher, first base, and that's, of course, Lainey O'Hara, and she's like a 4-year starter now. So how important has it been for both of you to have her leadership? Because she knows what to expect. She's been out there. She's played varsity all that time. So it's got to be very helpful for this program.
Yeah, listen, I will say from the get-go, Jamie's been around the program the past couple of years, on and off as well. But just having Lainey here as a freshman, the first day she stepped on the field as our first baseman, every single play on defense, she is talking to these girls, and it's just carried over year after year. She caught for us last year. Definitely not the place she wanted to be, but unselfishly gave up her spot at first base and went where the program needed her. And this year, she started off behind the plate as well, and now has moved back to first base. And it's just our leader on and off the field, whether it's here in the school, it's in the locker room, it's on the bus, leading the girls from the bus to an away field. She is our leader.
Right. And Jamie,
and she's Jamie's niece, so that that's extra special for them.
Yes.
For her to come in and coach her senior year.
It's
right.
And I can add to that as well, because the last couple of years I came back to watch Lainey play, and I would come back and visit, and that is the one thing that I would notice. And Coach Moff and Coach Joe would always tell me, Bart, listen, Lainey's such a good leader. She can, she does this and this, but to see it from, with my own two eyes, it's very, very special. She is, she just has that ability to, the girls, they gravitate to her, and they look up to her, and they know that she is there for them. And I couldn't be more honored to be able to coach her for her senior season. So it's a very wholesome feeling for me, especially knowing that it's her senior year. And it's just, she's an extension of our coaching staff, and not many coaches can say that. But for Lainey, I can say that we feel very proud to have her as one of our senior captains.
Yeah, whether it's in a game or it's at practice. Just yesterday I hear, all right, coach, what's next? It's not, hey, Aunt Jamie, what's next? It's not, hey, Moff, what's next? It's, hey, coach, what do you want to do next? Where am I sending the kids? So she's very, very much our leader.
Right. And Jamie, let me ask you, one of the most important things, obviously, for any successful program is pitching. And talk to me a little bit. Who's been on the mound this year? I know you have two of them, but who's been the main pitchers thus far?
So yeah, we do. We have two of them, and Caitlin DiMartino has been she's been our number one pitcher for the season so far, and she's young. She's a freshman. She just started learning really, the keys to pitching, I would say around 10 months ago. So for what she's taking on as a freshman, she knows that it's going to be a growing year, but she's young. And then I also have Jamie Orzetti. She's a sophomore, and she showed interest, I believe, last year in pitching a little bit for the team, and then this year she showed a little bit more, and we've been throwing her in, and she's been getting the job done for us as well. We need her just to throw strikes, and with Kaylin on the mound, we are at our strongest. So that is obviously our goal, but there are some games that Jamie may do better.
Right. And Jenn, I remember last year, one game in particular, your pitcher had got hurt. She had to come out of the game, and you had no other choice but to try Jamie. And she really, came in a tough situation. She really came in and did a good job considering the circumstances.
Yeah, I want to say that was
the
breast cancer game, or the pink
Mhm.
game last year against Oxford. She had never pitched before. You know, in practice, you see a couple kids that are trying the windmill, see if they can get it over the plate type deal, but she wasn't listed as a pitcher last year, and she came in without even thinking about it and got the job done and got us through that game. So we had no worries about bringing her in this year in a pinch or even a start a game.
If there's one word to add for Jamie, it's fearless, because you can
Yeah.
throw her into any situation and she'll just say, "Okay, coach, I'll do it."
And she's played every position for us. She's played anywhere in the infield. She's pitched. She's caught this year. She showed some interest in catching, so that Lady can move back to first base. She's played outfield for us. There's not a spot that we can't. She is the true utility player on the team this year.
And speaking of both girls, I believe they're both the co-captains of this year's team. Is that correct?
We actually have tri-captains. We have Lainey, who we already spoke about, now Jamie, and then there's a senior as well, Kelshawna McBroom.
Right. And that's very important. And again, Lainey being there 4 years, that alone helps with leadership. But it's very important to have that commitment from those girls and to be captains, because sometimes they're going to have to do certain things as leaders that coaches can't always do. And that's rallying the team and getting them to buy into the coaching staff. So it's very important that not only are they performing on the field, but also, being leaders as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we just added a fourth captain yesterday, senior first-year player, Brooke Giuliano.
Right.
Giuliano, I don't want to say it wrong. She's started second base for us, first year ever playing. She's a New England champion cheerleader, and she came over from track this year and wanted to try something different her senior year. And she just absolutely, we've talked about it. She is the hustle. She would definitely be our hustle award winner for this year. If you come to a game, you will see she does not stop moving when she's on defense. At practice, she won't stop moving. She wants to know, she wants to learn. She wants to know everything about the game. She wants to know what she's doing right, what she's doing wrong, how she can improve, how she can help the other players. So she's definitely added a piece to our captain group.
And there's one word for her, which is so key. She's coachable. I've never in all the years of coaching, you tell her to do something once and that is it. You never have to go back to her and tell her it again. So to me, as especially to us as a coaching staff, the more leaders that we see, they're going to get their recognition, and the teammates, they're going to know that those are all the girls they can look up to. And again, I would have 6 captains if that's how many girls were showing that they can be there for their teammates. So she's been a great addition for that.
And as far as first-year players, you have quite a few that joined the program, and some of them are actually starting this year because, you don't have a lot of veterans on this team. So, for them to get out there and be doing the job and playing hard, that has to be rewarding as far as that aspect of the coaching goes.
Absolutely, because we can only prepare them so much, and then obviously with having first-year players, it's a struggle. We have to teach all of them how to play the game and then, be prepared for games in itself. So just to see them do the little things for us as a coaching staff, it's very rewarding because they're doing things that they were not doing 3 weeks ago when we opened up against Seymour. We're doing, the game is growing and they're growing with it. And it's really, really nice to see.
Right. Jamie, Joe Borzelli told me once that the biggest fear he had when he was coaching early on in his career was getting that first win. He felt like he had to get that out of the way because when you're always thinking about that, it becomes a distraction. And you were able to get that first win relatively early. I believe you beat Crosby. So just talk about that first win as a head coach, because that had to be, number one, very satisfying, but also to celebrate with this group of kids that you've been working with since early March.
Absolutely. And I actually believe I looked over at Moff afterwards and I was like, all right, I got my first one. So it felt good. It felt good, but this is just, we are just beginning. This is our new motto that we have is one step at a time. And that's exactly the way that I'm going to continue to grow this program and continue to coach. It was a great day for me personally, to get my first win, but I know that the best is yet to come. And I just want to do every year. I want to just get better and better. I want to improve on my record and just overall make sure that they are going to improve with the game. But as far as the feeling goes, it's not going to be the last win. That's the way I'm looking at it. There's going to be many more where that came from, and I hope for the girls, you can tell they had a different energy to them, and they felt really good about themselves. So it was our second game right after playing Seymour, and we needed it. We needed a little pickup, and we're doing great things. We're really going in that upward direction.
Right, and both of you can answer this, but one of the things that's changed about the game of softball and baseball as well is when you played, both of you, it was cold early April, but then it kind of warmed up mid-April. It is cold in May now, which I will never understand. So how hard is that? Because it's not easy for girls to go out there and to try to play under conditions like that, where it's constantly windy. It's not easy to hit the ball, the pitcher. It's not easy to pitch. How do you adjust to something like that? Because that is a frustrating thing.
The only thing that I would say, that what I would try to preach to them, is that we're playing another team. So if you think you're cold, the girls on the other side, they're cold as well. And, unfortunately, these are the circumstances that we're given, and we have to try to push through them. I always let them know that there's no struggle is too hard for us to get through, or there's nothing that we can't overcome. And I believe if we start to instill that mindset with them a little bit more, and we stay consistent with that, I don't think that would ever be an issue. We're trying to have them feel like they're tough and that it's not too cold. But however the weather is, it's very cold for softball.
Right.
Yeah, listen, Jamie's been down in Florida for 8 or 9 years, 8 years, and she was a head coach down there, and that's a totally different scenario. Didn't really have to deal with much of that down there, but we are very lucky with the facility that we have. That we have a locker room that's right there, a bathroom that's 10 feet away from our dugout, and our dugout, has wrap on it so that it keeps the wind out. So, and the visiting teams that come as well, they get to enjoy that. So we are very lucky with the facility that we have, with how cold it's been the past couple of years.
And let me ask you this, the most important thing going forward, I said getting the kids to come out, which you've done, but also the feeder programs, those have to thrive as well. And you see why teams like Seymour are so successful, because they have an awesome feeder program. What is the goal for you as far as building the feeder programs up? And I mean, you've done a good job of that so far, but what do you look to do going forward with that?
So I honestly, we're going to start to run more clinics and get the youth involved around here, and start to get out in the community more and let them know that Derby softball is here, and we want girls to have something to look up to. We want to have them. We actually talk about having a youth night where we'll have some of the younger girls that are interested in softball coming out to the games, and the middle school games as well. So, stuff like that. We have to get the community more involved. And I personally run my own softball clinics and stuff like that. So that's another way just to get things going out there. But we've spoke about this a lot. We actually, the clinics and getting girls involved over the summer, and, just all year round, not just when March hits. We just don't want softball players from March until the end of May. We want it going all year round. So that way it does help for the future.
So AD Cosgriff has recently, along with Derby Pop Warner, the head of Derby Pop Warner, and Little League and City Basketball, and they've formed a Derby Sports Alliance. They had their first meeting here, I believe it was Monday night, where they kind of got the word out to everyone at the elementary school level, which seems to be where we need to start our action. Right now, we do have there is a softball program, but it's based in Ansonia. So there is a Derby Ansonia softball Little League, but Ansonia runs it. So, when we played, we both had rec softball here, and we want to be able to, a year or two down the road, we got to find the right person to be able to start that program up again. So like Little League, we would have our own in-house and get that budding again. So we have a program like our local towns, whether it's Ansonia or Seymour, Oxford, Beacon Falls, they all have incredibly robust Little Leagues right now. And that's where we need to get. But just like, our team here, it's one step at a time. It'll take us a little time to build that back up again, but we will get there.
Right. We talked a little bit about some of the players, but talk to me a little bit. Tell us, for people who don't know, who is your everyday infield, outfielders, so those kids people get familiarized with those group of girls.
Yeah. I'll start with our outfielders. Right now, our outfield consists of, I believe she's a sophomore, Haven Clark. She is our anchor in the outfield.
Sorry.
Sorry about those guys, everyone.
It's okay.
And on either side of Haven, she could be flanked by numerous people. A regular starter for us so far this year has been a first year player, again coming over from Craft, Leah Luddington.
Right.
However, Leah just recently had to go out for emergency surgery, so she's done for the season with us, but will be traveling with the team, just isn't able to play probably the remainder of the season. But we also have Faith Van Ness, who's been showing us great things. She started right field for us the other day.
We're young, so
yeah, we're very
the
young.
majority of our
Right.
starters are freshmen and sophomores, and then you have Emma DeSanti, who's starting shortstop for us, and then you have Sarah Damasceno. She's a returning player. She
Right,
is,
yeah.
and she'll play. She's another utility. We can put her anywhere, and she will get the job done for us. Then you have Kelshana McBroom. She's a senior. She's coming. She's played all 4 years, and she's been getting a little work on infield and outfield. We're still kind of putting the pieces together. Like I tell them after every game that we have, our puzzle is not complete yet. So every game is still a growing process for us, and the pieces. Sometimes you may have some people that come to a game on a Monday, and on a Friday there could be kids in completely different positions.
Yeah, and if you look at our starting roster, starting lineup, it's completely different almost every single game. We're still putting the pieces together.
Right.
And that's okay, because I like being young. Being young is very, very good for us, because they're learning, and they're all learning. They're buying into what we are trying to teach them, and the younger the better.
Right. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, because maybe in the short term, obviously you're going to have some growing pains and you're going to lose some games. But when these girls are juniors and seniors, they're really going to have that experience, and that can only make the program better as well as those girls better. So I don't see it as a bad thing at all.
Absolutely.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about Jenn. I know this is an event that's been going on. I think it's in its 11th year now, the paint game. Just talk to me a little bit about that, because I believe it's going to be this Saturday at 4 o'clock.
So this is the first year we're including the baseball team, because we've been doing a few different things with the baseball team. We did before our first game. We did a nice pasta dinner and a wiffle ball game with the boys, just to kind of keep that family atmosphere. We share a field, so we want to make sure that everyone is together like a family. So
I'm going to add into that quick. We had a nice home cooked meal by Michael and Rebecca O'Hara.
We did.
Lainey's parents.
Nice.
They made a beautiful. They had pasta and salad. So it was really nice to have that togetherness, like with the teams the night before our first game.
And then some families from another family from the past who's had daughters come through the program. Laura and Bill Harris actually came up and helped them cook and prepare things for us that night. So that was great to see them around too. So it's been going on for 11 years. Jamie was actually around when we did the first year. She was a volunteer coach at the time. Like you mentioned previously, Joe DiMartino was the head coach here for 30 years. And earlier, before that season started, his wife, Lori, I believe in March, had been diagnosed with breast cancer. So right away, I used my, for those of you who know me, I'm an event planner by trade. That's my thing. I love to do fundraising, charity events, giving back to the community.
Along with a heart of gold. Yes.
Giving back to the community and doing everything I can to make everything around me, work right and make sure everybody has what they need. So right away, I jumped into action, and we did a breast cancer game a couple weeks later. Lori was able to be there. We actually did the first one at Ansonia High School. She was actually there, but she was up. And if everybody's ever been to their field's kind of down below. And she was able to kind of step out of the car and kind of give a wave, but wasn't really able to be a part of it as much. But that first year, the group of kids that were there, they were all crying when she was able to be there. And it's just something that snowballed over the years, which is a great thing that it did, right? So she was treated at Griffin. She was treated at the Hewitt Center for Breast Wellness at Griffin Hospital. So that's where our money that we raise every year goes back to help people with different things, whether it's, you don't think about the things that they need, whether it's shawls, whether they're getting chemo or radiation, whether it's a makeup tutorial because they may lose their eyebrows or things due to the chemo or the radiation. There's just a lot of different things that they help them with wigs and those type of things. So that's where our money goes to help those that are battling, that are going through this right now. We want to make sure that they have what they need, and that's why we do this. So this is going to be our 11th year. And over the past 10 years, we've raised just over $30,000.
Wow.
Yeah, and so this year we decided, like I said, to bring the baseball team in as well. So we do play Ansonia every year. Last year was the only exception. We did play Oxford, where Coach Jim's wife was battling at the time as well. So we wanted to make the connection there. Thankfully, Lori is in remission and has had no issues there. So this is a game of celebration of all those that have battled and are continuing to battle, or that are in remission and are survivors. So we want our girls to understand that no matter what you go through in life, we are survivors and we'll get through it together. So,
and I know a lot of companies over the years have sponsored, they've donated for raffle prizes and really have helped out a lot. Just talk about some of those companies who have really contributed to that.
Yeah, so from day one, the two sponsors that we've always had are Jason down at Dewdrop has been a huge sponsor of ours. Whatever you ask him for, he will absolutely come through at any time. He's great. He loves to give back to the community. The other one from day one has always been Ed Sheehy over at Ed Zima's funeral home. I called him with the idea, and he right away, started us with some seed money that first year, so I can buy the things that we needed to get the game off the ground. And every year he's come through in a pinch as well. So those two guys are definitely our biggest sponsors. And then as far as gift certificates, this community is amazing. Whether it's a pink event or something for childhood cancer, whatever it is that you're looking to support, they are there to support you. This year we've got raffle prizes for everywhere from Shelton, Derby, Ansonia, Oxford, Seymour, Beacon Falls. And there's still some coming in every single day, and we'll have probably some being dropped off on Saturday from people that are donating. So it's just great to see. We do on average have between 50 and 100 raffle prizes. So we are hoping that everyone comes out. We keep the price very, very low, so you can buy 1 or 2 or 3 sheets so that you can win as many prizes as you possibly can if you're feeling lucky that day. We will have hot dogs, chips and drinks and candy and things. So we'll be there all day. I'll be there setting up about 9 a.m. for the noon baseball game, and then we'll have our softball game at 4 o'clock. And then if we have enough alumni show up in the evening after our game, then we'll do an alumni game as well. It may just be 10 or 12 of us hitting batting practice and just having a good old time. But whoever wants to come out and have a good time with us, feel free to stop by. We'd love to see everybody there.
I definitely think it's a great cause, and it's really impacted so many people who've had, especially families who have had to go through that. And for one day out of that year as well, somebody that's battling cancer and they're at that event, it kind of takes their mind off it for a little bit, which I think is a great thing about the event as well.
Yeah, we always try to tie it back to whether it's, now we add the baseball game this year, but for the softball game, we always try to add it, bring it back to the community. And if we know anybody, whether it's in the school or a family member or somebody in the school who's either battling or is a survivor, we try to invite them to do a first pitch so that we can celebrate them along with everybody else. So that's, something we try to make sure we do as well. So.
And Jamie, this is a big year for the Bartones in a lot of ways. It's your first year as a head coach. Your niece Coco is playing for St. Joe's. They are having an unbelievable year. I think they could win that whole thing, honestly. But I mean, that has to be a lot of fun as well. You probably don't get to see her play as much now that you're coaching, but she's having a terrific season. And to see that, and now you're back in the game. I mean, it's got to be a great time for the Bartone family.
It is. I mean, I couldn't be. I'm just very proud from where I came from and the roots that I have, and that's exactly why I came back here and wanted to coach and wanted to come back here, just because of, you still have that sense of pride that never goes away. And as far as, when I was living away, I missed my nieces playing softball. I missed being able to watch them play their sports. And now, like, I was able to watch Coco play all of last year, which was amazing. This year is a little hard because of our schedules and all of that. But, she's a phenomenal softball. I actually see a lot of myself in her, and she has that drive, and, I wish she could play at Derby, but we know how that goes.
Right. And
But
Jamie,
I obviously wish her the best, and I'm going to get to see her as much as I possibly can. But
right. And Jamie, you are a very competitive player, great basketball and softball player, and you also know the ups and downs. So, I mean, as a coach, what do you try to, preach to the girls when it's a bad loss, stuff like that? I mean, because you've been through it, you know what to expect. So what do you kind of try to tell them after a bad
So
loss?
I preach to them lessons that I've learned throughout my life through, when I was a player, and there are things that I obviously would have done differently if I was playing again now. But I always try to go back to the way that I played the game and the way I had coaches in my life. And coming from Derby, listen, we did not win every game that we played, nor currently right now are we winning every game. But I always tell them not to look at the scoreboard. Let's look at how many things we're improving on. Let's look
Right.
at have we gotten better from the game before? Those are the important things right now, especially those are the important things to building a good foundation and building a good program. I'm not worried about if we, obviously we want to win, but right now the growth is the most important and getting the numbers and having somewhere to start. And I just let them know every day that the struggles are there. You are going to have those days as an athlete where nothing is working. Your
Right.
shot's not working. You can't catch a ball. You can't hit a ball. Those days are going to come, but we can't harp on them, and we have to let them go. We got to let it go and try to make the next day better, and the next, whatever we're faced with, make that better.
And I'm
And
sure.
we, and
So
we really stick with that. We tell them every game, don't worry about the scoreboard. Don't worry about if they scored however, X, Y, and Z runs against us. Did we get better? Did we get better individually, and did we get better as a team? And if we do that, then we're growing as a program.
right.
I've
And
always,
go
I've
ahead.
preached a lot
Yeah.
over, I preached a lot over the last couple of years. Just, the way the program has been going, we've been struggling with only 12 girls, I think the last 5 or 6 years as a program. And this year it's doubled, which is awesome. We're at 25 student athletes. So we try to preach to them that just we want you to have as short term of a memory as you possibly can. So whatever happens at your at bat, once it's over, it's over. You move on to the next thing. We're doing everything one step at a time, and just we're preaching nothing but the positives, trying not to talk too much about the negatives, and loving the fact that we have so many young players and they're just asking questions. They are like sponges right now. They want to know the game. They're watching the game on TV. They're staying after and watching the baseball games if we have practice before, or we get back early, and they're asking questions during those games, like why did that just happen, or what should I do in this scenario, or constantly asking questions. And that's really what we love, is that we're trying to teach these kids that are freshmen that have never played before, just trying to teach them the game, and hoping that they have the love for it that we do.
And I'm sure 6 weeks into the season now, you've seen big improvements from every player from that first week of the season. And if that's happening, then everybody knows they're doing their job then.
Yeah.
And to add into that, we've had numerous coaches come up to us and say what a difference the program looks like, and how the girls are, and how they seem different. Like they just seem like they're getting the game a little bit better, doing different things. So it's really nice to see that the change, that the change is being made, and it's noticeable.
Right. Well,
and like I said earlier, our motto, and we're going to stick with that forever, is just one step at a time. And as long as we focus, we actually made a little brick. One of our players, she built it in woodshop class, and it says one step at a time. It's just a brick box, and we step over it every time they leave the locker room to play a game. And that's just, we're gonna continue with that.
And I've known Leah Lovington forever, and I always say this, that whether it's a program, school, work, wherever it is, every place needs a Leah Lovington, because she is the most optimistic person I've ever seen in my life.
You're very spot on with that.
Right. So I mean, that right there makes her a very invaluable part of the team, and that's just the thing. Every girl in some capacity is contributing to this team, and I think that's probably the most gratifying thing for you so far this season.
That's our little family. That's it. We've built that, and we love that every day. I look forward to seeing them I always tell them, if they all decided they wanted to go play badminton right now, I would stop coaching them with softball, and I would follow them and coach them during badminton, because that's important to them. They need to know that their coaches have their backs, and and we do.
Right. Well, I really appreciate you both giving me some time today. Number one, folks, this event's going to go on all day this Saturday, the Pink Game. Find a way to get down there, whether you get down there 10 o'clock, you get down there 3 o'clock. Just find a way to support this, because it's a great cause and it's a lot of fun. Number two, I wish you both and the girls the best of luck the rest of the season, and just keep doing what you're doing. I mean, right now, I think this program is headed in the right direction, and that's the most important thing. So good luck to both of you and the players.
Thank you. We appreciate it. And I just would like to give a little shout out to the two that are behind the scenes a little bit. We have two volunteer coaches this year.
Yeah.
Dana Williams is one of them, and Nicole Borges is the other. And Nicole is a teacher here in the school.
Right.
And Dana is, she's a teacher in Danbury, and they love being a part of our program. And they are the ones that they do all the little things. They get practice ready for us. They get the girls all together. They make it a little bit easier for us to manage the big group of girls that we have. So I just did not want to forget our volunteer coaches, because we would not be able to do this without their help as well.
And that's really important too, because a lot of people forget that volunteer coaches put in as much work as paid coaches, and
Absolutely.
they should never be forgotten either, because obviously everybody that coaches does it for the love of the sport and the interaction with the kids. Nobody ever really does it for the money. So that's the main thing that people need to understand, is that every coach in any capacity, whatever they're coaching in high school or youth sports, they do it because they love it. So,
Absolutely.
It's important that nobody forgets that. Well, I really do appreciate this and look forward to watching you the rest of the way, and go Derby.
Yes,
All
sir.
right, Mike.
Thank you so much.
Hopefully we'll see you on Saturday.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Take care.
Thank you.
All right.